Hello everybody, welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how to do a 3D geode tumbler. As you can see, I've already drawn the other side, but I'm going to show you what I do. Normally I draw in pencil, but it wasn't showing up very well, so the only thing I could find was a seafoam green Sharpie, which is what I did. Don't worry, it doesn't really show through, and you'll see that throughout the rest of the video. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to make some very organic looking lines. It doesn't really need to be all that special. I'm going to come in, as you can see, and I marked in with where I wanted each color and all the glass. I filmed the first half of this. As you can see, the other side of the tumbler is already completed, and I realized that I just didn't like how it turned out all that well. So I went in from a previous one that I'd done that I really enjoyed, and I kind of like wrote down the colors that I used so that I had more of an idea this time. So as I'm going through here, I didn't show you what I was using, and that was my fault. So I actually use these pieces of glass. They're crushed glass vase filler from Michael's. You can get them in a bunch of different colors. This is the clear. It kind of still has a little bit of like a yellowy brownish color, as you can see, but for the most part, when you're holding it in the light, it looks white. So I think it's just the way the light's hitting it. You can buy it in light pink, which I used on the other side of the tumbler. I think I have it in purple, blue, light greenish blue, and then I did take some of the smaller pieces of glass and I actually dyed them with alcohol inks. And what I did is I took a bowl of them, I suppose, and I put brown alcohol ink all over it, mixed it around, and then I spread it out really thinly on a piece of parchment paper and let it completely dry, and it created like this really pretty ambery brown color. So anyways, I'm coming in with this glass, and I left a space in the center because I'm gonna put glitter in it because it kind of looks like a crystal-y geode, but I'm using a hot glue gun, as you can see, and I'm just placing the pieces of glass down where I want them. Be careful, they're not sharp per se, but if you have them sticking up everywhere, your tumbler is going to be pretty sharp. And so here I am coming in with the brown glass, and this is a much smaller cut of glass, and they are a little bit more sharp, so I put a bunch of hot glue down and then I push as much of the glass in as possible so it's as flat as possible. Now keep in mind, this is a 3D geode, so you will still feel like there's a crystal on it, but you don't want it to be sharp. So that's the goal here. This cup uses a ton of epoxy, but I think the end result is really, really pretty. This is a huge mess as you go through. It might not look like much now, but trust the process, people. It really does look beautiful. So on the other side, I did the glass, and then I did glitter, and then I went back to the glass, and I realized that that was stupid and I shouldn't have done that. So on this side, I do all of the glass first. You don't want to put hot glue over Mod Podge because it melts it, I guess, basically. So I wanted to make sure that all of the glue stuck to the cup because I didn't want it to move around on me too much. And so I'm just placing it really, not haphazardly, but just kind of randomly in like a line so it looks like a crystal geode. The first time I did this cup, I did use a picture for reference. This is supposed to kind of look like rose quartz, but you know, it just kind of, every geode looks different, and that's kind of why I like it. I've done them in purple before, I've done them in like a bluish color. The rose quartz one seems to be the most popular, and actually I loved it so much the last time I made it that this one actually is for me. Like, I need another tumbler, but it's just a really cool process. It takes a little bit of time, but it ends up turning out to be like a really unique cup that nobody else has. So I really recommend to try it. I'm using my right hand for the glue gun because my setup is so weird. I don't know if you guys noticed. But I completely changed the way I'm filming. I bought this overhead camera holder on Amazon, and I'm not yet sure if I like it too much. It was a little bit of a learning curve, and sometimes I'm sure you'll notice I bring my cup too close to the camera by accident. So I'm sorry, where I take the cup out of frame and I don't realize it. So after I've done the glass, I'm going to come in with Mod Podge, and I'm going to put glitter. So this first glitter is Rose Gold Opal, I believe, from Peachy Olive Glitter. So I'm just using regular Mod Podge. Sometimes I tint the Mod Podge to help the glitter coverage, but this one doesn't really need it. It's a really nice fine glitter. It covers really well on the first try. When you sprinkle the glitter over this, try not to get too much into the actual crystal portion of it. It will be messy. Side note, as you can see here, I'm kind of like fumbling around trying to figure out what to do. Because some of the glass is a little bit loose because it's only held on by hot glue right now, I do have like a little cup of glitter, like a dump cup, so that I'm not putting glass back into my glitter shakers. So just be, careful when you're doing this. I'm trying not to waste too much glitter when I'm applying a glitter on there. So I'm going to come in with another color. This was a color that ended up looking a little bit too close to the rose gold opal. I believe it was called Golden Rose. It's from Glitter Heart Co. I had another rose gold that I just couldn't find, so this is what we were going with, but that's okay. It was really pretty anyways. Glad that I used it. And remind myself that I cannot use that ugly orange cover anymore. I need to get a new one. It's so embarrassingly ugly. I'm so sorry. So I'm coming in with like a thin brush, and I'm wiping off all the excess glitter. And then I'm coming back in, and I believe this one I chose white. Pretty sure. And I didn't know which one I wanted to use for this one either, so I ended up choosing like a glitter that I've had for a really long time. I honestly don't even know where I got it from, but it's white and it has a little bit of silver, and it has a little bit of like a rainbow shimmer as well. So I'm just sprinkling that on as well. And I'm going to come back in eventually too and figure out exactly where I want to put some more glitter, or if I need to put glass anywhere, add some more layers. So it's just kind of a process, lots of touch and go. And I'm going to come in with Waunderlust. It's one of my favorite Peachy Olive glitters. I'm sure I've used it in one of my other videos before, and if not, you'll probably see it quite often because it is really, really beautiful. It's like a pinkish color, more of like a pink rose gold than regular rose gold, but it has these really pretty like rainbowy opal to it as well. And so I'm going to sprinkle that in, and that's what kind of gives it that like rose quartz kind of pinkish color. And I put that against the white glass, and I wasn't as careful this time. I actually had the Mod Podge, and you can see here I'm going over a little bit of the glass because when you crack open a geode, there's like a crystal inside, and so it kind of looks really, really cool when you leave that extra little spot. So as you can see, I didn't finish that completely. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so I'm coming back in with the white glitter and making the finishing edges around that part of the cup. Sorry, it was out of frame for a second, and I'm just sprinkling it along. All of this stuff, guys, you can get the glass again from Michael's. Trying to think what else. This is a 30-ounce curve as well from the Stainless Depot. Okay, so I'm coming in with my girl Athena because it's my favorite glitter. I know for sure I've used this in almost all of my videos. And so I'm going around the entire outside of my geode portion with this Athena. So it's more of like a chunky mix. It's a gold. It also has this beautiful opal color. There's really no other gold that I've ever seen that looks like this. I mean, like, I literally buy it every time I see it. It's always out of stock. So every time it is in stock, I buy like 2 or 3 bags because I go through it so fast. So now I used to do my entire cup white glitter first, and then I did the geode, but the glitter like static clings everywhere. So I'm going to go in with a dry brush, and I'm going to scrape off all of the excess glitter that didn't come off after I tapped the cup. And then on this side, I'm going to show you the other side that I did. I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just wasn't exactly what I was going for. And of course, I'm out of frame again. I'm going to come in with Athena again and around the entire brown part of the geode. And so, excuse me, I wonder how long it's going to take me to realize that I'm out of frame. And again, this is just regular Mod Podge, and I'm coming in with a little angled makeup brush. I use makeup brushes a lot because it just, you know, works a little bit better. Sometimes these cheap paint brushes, they lose their little bristles everywhere, and then I have to pick those out, and it's a mess. So I used to get Ipsy, and they always sent makeup brushes, and so I have this huge amount of makeup brushes I don't use because I really only use eyeliner for myself. So I don't actually put on all that much makeup, so I use it for my crafts instead, and that's just totally fine. So I'm going in with Athena, and again, I'm not as careful this time. I do go over the crystals a little bit, and that's okay. This is like the outside edge, so I'm really not worried about that. Look at how when I move my cup, I want you to look at the rainbow on the table from Athena. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I'm just brushing off the excess, and I went in with a white Mod Podge as well, and you'll see that I tinted it with white paint, and I put that over some of like the gold areas. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm actually putting Athena there too because there was a little spot that I missed the first time around, so bear with me here while I do that. Okay, tap, tap, tap. Look at that rainbow. It's so pretty. Ugh, like I could stare at it all day. Seriously, it's so beautiful. Grab Athena. If you've never gone to Peachy Olive Glitters, do it and buy as much Athena as you possibly can. I promise you, you won't regret it. 100%. It's the best. Okay, so I'm coming in with a white Mod Podge that I tinted with white paint. Oh, nope, still not yet. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, so this I'm just putting another little layer of Waunderlust because it just didn't end up looking the way I wanted it to the first time. Again, I'm out of frame. I'm so sorry. I promise, guys, I'll get better at this one. I'll get better at using this, and if not, I'll just go back to my old setup. But, you know, I was sick and tired of my left hand getting in the way, so I really wanted you guys to see everything that I was doing. So I think a little bit of more practice with this, and it'll be golden. All right, is this the time where I go in with white? I don't even know. Okay, I think, yes, all right. So here's my white Mod Podge with white paint. And I'm gonna go in between where the white crystal is and the rose gold opal, because that was just, the section was bothering me. The first time I did it, it was a light pink and it looked not great. So then I went over it with rose gold, but then there was too much. So I'm going back in and I'm adding white, and I'm going to put that white glitter with the silver and like rainbowy flakes, so that it gives it just a little bit more detail. I highly recommend you to tint your Mod Podge if you've never done that before. I think I said earlier in the video that it just gives it a little bit more coverage, and you don't have to do as many coats of glitter. I hate doing more than one coat of glitter if I don't need to, so I usually just try and tint my Mod Podge and paint my cups the way, like the colors that I want to use, so that I don't have to, and I just use regular Mod Podge. But for this one, I'm glad that I had some white laying around, because I did want to add a white glitter over something that was not white to begin with. So it was a good choice on my part to have that. So there we go. Okay, so this next step, everybody, you have to wait for everything to dry, because you're going to go over the entire cup with white glitter. So I'm using Opal Majesty from Peachy Olive Glitter, and I put it in a cup. So I'm just brushing off with my dry brush all of the excess glitter around the cup. Okay, so I'm coming in with my Mod Podge, and you don't have to be perfect. You know, geodes aren't perfect, which is also one of the reasons why I like it. It's very organic looking. So I'm going to come in with the Mod Podge, and I'm going to cover this entire white portion of the cup with this white Mod Podge, or clear Mod Podge, I suppose, after it dries. And then we're going to come in with Opal Majesty and cover the remainder of the cup with that. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here. So it takes me a couple seconds. Don't be afraid if you go over some of your other glitter. Again, you want a crisp line when it comes to the white, and so, you know, it's all good if you go over one of your other outlines from the other edge of the glitter. It's totally cool. All right. So it's all covered, and I'm going to sprinkle it on. Under the camera, it looks pink, I think. But it's not. It's white, and then it has like rainbow. It's really, really beautiful. I love this glitter. There's another one. It's called Nookie, and that one's a little bit harder to get. So when I have a whole bunch of surface area to cover, I usually use Opal Majesty. They look very similar. Nookie's just a little bit prettier, but that's okay. So this is what it looks like for any epoxy. I'm gonna probably put my name along the edge, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like after probably 3 or 4 coats of epoxy, so that you can see how much you need. All right, so here it is in all of its beautiful glory. This one actually took about 4 coats of epoxy on top. I think that I probably will put at least 1 or 2 more, but it just kind of depends on the way you put the glass. As you can see, there are a couple areas where it's a little bit pokey. It's definitely not sharp. Use your own feeling as to how many coats of epoxy that you want on it, so that you can still feel the geode, but it's not going to hurt you when you hold it. So check out my Etsy, Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube if you already haven't, comment down below, let me know what you think, and thank you again for watching another one of my tutorials.